The other move I want to address specifically here is Arsenal landing Jorginho. Interesting kind of split reaction to this move. Of course, this came after a failed attempt, it appears, to go get Moises Caicedo, who went public saying he wanted a move. Brighton said, that's cute, not happening. Arsenal tried to pry him out of Brighton, and good for Brighton for holding their ground. I will always applaud teams because, I mean, look at all the players Brighton have already lost the past couple seasons. Sometimes you just need to stand up for yourself. So good for Brighton. But that forced Arsenal to pivot, and all of a sudden, all of this money that was, marked from Mikhail Mudryk and was just kind of available because they hadn't spent as much as they expected. So they get Jorginho, who was, counting down his time at Chelsea. So you get him super cheap. There's no long-term commitment here, which is a big part of this. You got to look at the deal in its entirety and what it means in the context of this season. This is not about Jorginho being a long-term replacement in the midfield, being a long-term solution in the midfield. This is about Jorginho giving you a Champions League winning third place Ballon d'Or voting finishing, as ridiculous as that was, body in your midfield to complement your starting midfield that has been excellent this season, that also still gives you plenty of money that you can sort of save and defer to the summer to go get your actual long-term option in the midfield. Whether that's going back in for Caicedo, whether that's Declan Rice, whether that's, maybe they pull a stunner and get Jude Bellingham, I don't know. Whoever that's going to be, this does not stop Arsenal in any way, shape, or form from getting the player they ultimately want. What it does is gives you a guy that Mikel Arteta has admired for a really long time, that is experienced in this league, that knows how to set the tempo of a midfield, that, you look at the other options in that midfield right now. I'm not saying he's better than them because they've all been outstanding. But they don't really have somebody like him. So he just gives you, again, something different, a different kind of approach. And it's very much built out of the Pep Guardiola / Mikel Arteta, tempo setting, control the ball philosophy. That's what Jorginho does. This window for Arsenal, Jorginho, Leandro Trossard, all the signings. They're about depth, not about upgrading. Because you can't upgrade that starting lineup on the cheap. It is impossible. Because anybody who's actually going to improve that starting lineup is going to cost the kind of money that a Mikhail Mudryk cost, a Moises Caicedo was going to cost, whatever other, an Enzo Fernandez cost. That's just the reality of, it's a compliment to Arsenal and how well they've been playing. They don't need an upgrade in the starting lineup. There is not a hole there. Where there is a little bit of a hole, where there's a little bit of a concern, particularly as you get into the business end of the Europa League, a competition that they should be trying to win and will be putting forth more effort into now that they've gotten through the group stage, is the depth part of this. They've already done a sensational job upgrading. It's one of the reasons why they've been able to sustain this season. Right? You have a couple other midfielders, particularly Fabio Vieira, who have done a nice job. You got all kinds of options in defense, from Tomiyasu to Tierney, Zinchenko. You've got our center back playing right back because you can't fit all three center backs out there otherwise. You've got, 5-6 center defenders you trust. You've got your front three. Also, remember, Emile Smith-Rowe just hasn't been a factor this season. He's almost like a new signing in and of himself. And my one question was Gabriel Jesus, and look at Eddie Nketiah. Slots right in, doing a terrific job. They do have enough depth to make this happen and to not sort of fall apart when they have to put more resources into the Europa League. But now you're looking, and at that point, okay, so what else can you upgrade? Well, we could use another winger because it's kind of Saka and Martinelli. Enter Leandro Trossard. We could add a little bit of technical ability in midfield. You try and take some of the playmaking responsibilities off of Odegaard because that's not. I mean, Jock has been excellent this season, but he kind of is a Swiss Army knife doing a little bit of everything. It's not really what Thomas Partey does. So we get Jorginho. Also, this is a really young squad that hasn't really gone through this before as well as they're handling it. We could use another guy in the locker room who knows how to make this happen, who knows how to win at the highest level. Jorginho offers you that too. To me, this was a home run of a transfer window for Arsenal. They needed to get some extra bodies to just give them a little bit more. If somebody gets hurt, just a couple proven commodities can contribute right away, can step right in and help you. And if it worked financially to go get the long-term targets to continue to build this core, great. It didn't. The money they would have spent on Caicedo would have been worth it. He's fantastic. You can always go get, it's not like Brighton sold him to somebody else. You're going to have another shot at him. Don't spend money for money's sake. Take the pragmatic options because your priority is the here and now and making sure you win this Premier League. The rest of it will take care of itself if you do that first. Arsenal are in a better position to do that because they got Jorginho and because they got Leandro Trossard. Well done, Edu. Well done, Mikel Arteta. I know these weren't necessarily the inspiring signings Arsenal fans wanted to kind of put them over the edge. But I just look at it and I say this is more than enough. This is what you needed to do. You are better, you are deeper than you were at the start of this transfer window, and that is all that matters.